of the time you'll jump up with the person that has the ball?
You know, you want to jump first most of the time. But this depends who's the jumper, who's the person that's going for the layup. You know, if he's an athletic guy, you want to jump first. But if he's like Zubac, he's one of the bigs, you know, you want to be, you know, the second guy that, you know, kind of jumps or be over there even before he gets to be able to jump to discourage, you know, any layups or, you know, be confrontational at the rim.
Dillon, when you look at just Jalen, that's going to be out for an extended period of time. What adjustment, even though it was just one game with him, what adjustment do you feel like particularly on offense, without that element that he brings?
We got more guys be able to get downhill and, you know, create. We're gonna miss a dynamic score. But I always say, you know, next man up. You know, that's why basketball is a team sport. You know, you got other guys ready to go, ready to play. But he'll be back in no time. But overall, you know, we're gonna miss a dynamic scorer who gets downhill, who can score off the dribble in various ways, and you know, he's gonna be all right.
One thing that was interesting in the last game, like you were bringing the ball, and that element is something that I don't think, like initially, like always bringing it up. How much are you looking at that initiating offense being something that you can, that even more that you can bring to the group, particularly now with Dillon now being?
It's gonna happen a lot, I guess. You know, you got a lot of guys who can bring up the basketball. Just knowing the offense and knowing, you know, what to do when you have the ball in your hands, being unselfish, being a playmaker, being aggressive to play make, and you'll probably see more of it.
Just when you guys swing the ball, you found Royce, that was a swing. How much is that? And you got the shooter that you guys had, Paramount. Kick it. If he's not there, next guy you know over there to get that shot.
Yeah, it's just trusting. No matter if it's Royce, Ryan, Colin, no matter who it is, you know, we're gonna be unselfish. That ball moves around, gives energy, and normally the guys you don't think can shoot, the energy's in the ball. So, you know, putting the reps up, having the confidence in your teammates, the coaching staff, everybody is, you know, it's gonna go in, or great things are going to happen. Like you said, we're seventh in offensive rebound, so we know when the shots are going up and able to, you know, get to the ball and create more three-point chances.
Colin statistically has had one of the most impressive starts of the season off the bench for any player in the league. Just kind of wondering what's impressed you the most about his demeanor and the way he's been able to be impactful.
Being confident, trusting his work in the summer. He plays hard. He plays with a tenacity that, you know, a lot of guys don't play with. And, you know, he's playing, and then ultimately he's playing within himself. And the offense is created to, you know, get guys like him able to get into the middle and be a passer or a scorer or whatever the case may be. It's like Ty Jerome last year in Cleveland, you know, able to get to his spots in the middle of the floor, able to, you know where his outlets are at. And just playing with confidence.
He had a great drive and dish to Nick Richards. I think it was maybe in the third or fourth quarter. But like, did you know that he had the type of passing chops that he has?
Yeah, for sure. He's made countless of passes like that in training camp. Villanova product, so you know he's got a little scrappiness and winning to him. So he's gonna make all those winning plays for us, you know, especially off the bench. And we got so much confidence in him, you know, running our team.
How do you deal with all eyes on you, even when you're on the bench? You talk about instigating. Like, how do you deal with that, knowing that if you say something, that you're going to be more of a target to get maybe something like that if somebody else is maybe saying the same thing from the bench and they're not going to get that same opportunity?
I like the eyes on me. It just goes to show that they recognize you, don't matter if it's the refs or the players. It's just me. It's just always been my demeanor, and I have that type of energy where you gotta look. So.
Do you feel like James was the other night? I mean, you could tell from the get-go. I mean, he was feeling it. Did you feel like you kind of already taken the first step in that battle before the tip?
Yeah, I think he was upset about something. I don't know, but I I test out every player like that to see where their energy's at. And I could tell when, I already got you, when you're already focused on me, we already bickering back and forth. And that's my game. I play like that in the NBA and college and pick up with guys I don't even know. That's just the way I play. So I like the words that he said after the first game about, it gets him going and stuff like that. But I knew that was all cap. So I had to tell him in the game that I'm going to guard you next time we play. And he was by himself. So, proof's in the pudding.
When you look at Ryan defensively, early this season he talked about leaning into you just for kind of guidance on how to get certain whistles like offensive players on the defensive end, so you're able to be a little bit more aggressive. How have you seen him grow with that so far?
I still got a couple of things to give to him on those, but just being attentive on when you're guarding in front, how to use your hands, how to position your feet, where you can get over screens faster and keep the match up, and then ultimately, with guys like me and him, we gotta get used to following the strategy at hand, like switching properly, because then you're being a liability on the defensive end, where guys can get loose, open, you're not being communicative. So it's all those things in one, and then you can let it loose when it's like 7-8 seconds on the clock and it's ISO time and it's you with the guy in front of you. So a couple more things, with the screens to get calls, with them hooking or bumping or pulling the chair and stuff like that. But we got a long year, and when those things are warranted, I give them out.
Talk with DeMar Carroll about some of the things that you do, maybe some of the things he had when he was in his prime, and just kind of had similar as a whole.
For sure, but he didn't really play no defense like that, man. He was just a shooter. They called him a 3-and-D, but there's a couple things that he has that are good. He knows how to maintain the body, how to keep your spirits up. He's got a great looking jump shot, and then he's got ultimately he's been coaching for a while, been on countless of teams, as coach, and been around great players. So I have been watching him ever since he was on Toronto before I even got to the NBA. So he's got a lot of knowledge, and he's going to be as well with me helping Ryan, to speed up his process as a better basketball player.
Thanks, Dillon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.